Before I get into this video, man, I just want to take y'all back a little bit to 2024, okay? Do y'all remember all of the conversation and the hype and the energy and all these different things around push-ups and family matters before Kendrick actually responded, like before Euphoria came out? The energy in the climate, like in the space, was leaning extremely heavily towards Drake. Like, that's one thing we all know for sure. Everywhere was leaning heavily towards Drake. Okay? And it was almost like Kendrick and company were allowing this idea, right? Allowing this idea that Drake had a chance, that Drake could compete, that Drake was going to be able to actually do anything with Kendrick. It's like they allowed the idea to build to its maximum capacity before they just pulled the rug from everything, right? And immediately tone started changing, tone started shifting. Everything just got very, very different. I don't know what it is about right now, but I'm picking up on that same energy. Like, there's so much energy that's leaning, or that was leaning towards Drake for this last week prior to like the week that took place recently, right? There was so much energy and momentum, whether it was fake hype or whatever or not, leaning towards Drake. And here we go, just these little doses of poking holes at that momentum, whether it's intentional or not. Just these little pokes at that momentum. And I think today is just another, if not the greatest example of the threat that looms over this album that Drake's about to drop. All right? We got a lot to talk about, so I need y'all to pay attention, okay? Before we get to that, I do want to give everybody that's not fully up to date on what's going on an idea of what's going on, okay? So, earlier this morning, TMZ got this article out, and this is what they got to say. Kendrick Lamar looks like he's reigniting his beef with Drake a couple days before Drake drops his new album. Kendrick got his fans riled up by deleting and then re-uploading his famous Drake diss. So, that's their perception. But, Not Like Us, Luther, and GNX as a whole were taken down from sites today. Right? The music videos, everything. All right? And I don't think that included Squabble Up. But Luther and the Not Like Us video were taken down. Right? And when this happened, the propaganda started to roll immediately. To the point where I think people were thinking like, did Drake and have hackers take... It was all these different conspiracies. Like, oh, he got hacked and they took the song down. They also tried to push the propaganda that Kendrick was scared of Iceman coming out. He's scared of that album coming out and therefore wanted to backpedal on some of the things on the diss tracks. They also was comparing him to J. Cole, saying he deleted his diss tracks because he's scared and he wants to stop being a hater. All these different ideas. And these are coming from DJ Academics, Aiden Ross's, all going live around the same time to push these narratives. So, of course, I can see why people would think that they might have, Drake's side of things had something to do with what took place. We learned that wasn't the case at all. And let's keep reading. Here's the deal. Folks started noticing Monday morning Kendrick's Not Like Us music video was conspicuously missing from his YouTube page, and the internet started buzzing. The video has since been re-uploaded to YouTube, and his view count was reset to 0. The original post had more than 400 million views. Kendrick appears to have done the same thing with his SZA collab. The music video for Luther disappeared and then reappeared Monday for his official YouTube page. The Kendrick and SZA collab was featured on his GNX album, which is no longer available on Apple Music. Kendrick's Drake diss Euphoria was reportedly removed from Apple Music earlier today, but as of this posting, it's back on the platform. So there you go. There were all these narratives that were being created. People even went as far as to say that Kendrick and company lost the lawsuit, which is like interesting because they say that Drake's not suing Kendrick, is suing UMG. But they all jumped down to try to make it seem like, oh, this is proof that the lawsuit is lost, that Drake won the lawsuit, and now they're forced to take down these songs. Well, the songs ended up going back on the platforms. And let's keep going because that's not all there is to it, right? So you got all these people talking about all this stuff that was going on, boom, boom, etc., right? So now we're at a point where the music videos are re-uploaded too. Now what happened was the music videos had got re-uploaded and they had new views, so they had been completely removed and re-uploaded for the new views, right? And so the old views that were like 400 million on Not Like Us, around something for Luther or whatever, those were gone entirely. But then new videos came up and they were being racked up. More narratives were being built around that. People went as far as to say there was some investigation on YouTube bots and all that, and that's why they deleted it. But guess what? Shortly after that, the videos with the original views on them were back uploaded. They were back uploaded. So all of the narratives that were created in that short amount of time got squashed in that short amount of time. And it's just another moment of people of that side jumping to create those narratives and then them getting debunked immediately in the process. And they're going to continue to do those things, right? That's not necessarily the topic that we're here to talk about right now. What I want to talk about is the fact that just this taking place literally wiped out all discussion of Iceman, of the Drake album coming out. And if I'm Drake and company, that's terrifying. Because you telling me all it took to steal all of the momentum from my project that we've been rolling out for a year and some change. We had the ice blocking set up. We got the propaganda machines pushing it. We got all these different things. These theories coming out. We acting like we're going to shoot at Kendrick, knowing we're not going to shoot at Kendrick. All these different things to build hype for this project. All the things that's been taking place. Yet, you telling me all it took was Not Like Us coming down and Euphoria coming down and GNX coming down to completely steal the entire conversation, momentum, and energy away from this rollout? If I'm Drake and company, that's terrifying. You know why? Because it's just a preview on if Kendrick Lamar decides to drop anything during this time. Now, there are a lot of theories on the other side saying like, oh, well, in reality, it probably isn't a crazy reason as to why the music ended up dropping, or the music didn't end up being, you know what I mean? They came down on the platforms. The reason is probably not exciting. It's probably not that crazy or nothing like that. You see what I'm saying? But what makes it very, very interesting, right, is the fact that regardless of what the reason is, whether it's just business, licensing, whatever it is, it was enough to steal the momentum, and it almost feels like just a little dose of what could potentially happen if Kendrick were to actually drop anything, and that's terrifying, especially because we got to think about the situation that Drake is in, okay? Drake is in a situation where they are not going to be, this album is everything. This album is probably going to dictate what Drake's next deal, what his next whatever is going to end up looking like. If this kid ends up being a major success, that he gets boom, all different stuff, and that he probably gets a greater deal on after this whole thing takes place. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? And he gets himself back in position. However, if Kendrick were to drop and steal all the momentum from that, stop Drake from getting a number one, stop Drake from breaking the Michael Jackson's record, which would take Drake's stock through the roof once again, right? If he was able to break the Michael Jackson's record with another number one hit. I think that academics, Aiden Ross, company, whoever's working on that team, Melissa Nathan, all these people who are working for Drake and pushing this propaganda, they're hoping and hoping big time. Melissa Nathan, academics, Aiden Ross, everybody on that side is hoping that Kendrick Lamar stays inside. I'm telling you. Because if Kendrick had decided to drop anything, whether it's for Baby Keem, whether it's or whatever, it's gonna get dark for Drake and his rollout. And the proof of that is in the pudding by what happened today. If all of these motherfuckers is panicking like this, creating narratives instantly, all going live and boom, boom, all this different stuff, you calling out all the biggest names that are pushing for Drake to come out and spin narratives immediately, they're panicking more than they're confident. DJ Academic's going on DJ Vlad's show and saying it will be the worst decision Kendrick has ever made. And when asked why, they say it's because then people would tie him to Drake for the rest of his career. Nobody cares about that. Kendrick Lamar's audience is so vastly large at this point, and it's been so vastly large. All these conversations about what the internet is going to think is null and void. Stadium tours, all that, is still to take place. So when you really break it down and you really think about it, the back is against the wall. It's not looking good. Because if Kendrick does come outside and drop, Kiss, all of the momentum and all the hype for that project gone. But the thing is, it's not even necessary. That's what makes it even scarier. It's not even necessary. Kendrick stepping on Drake's album isn't even necessary. I would go out on a limb that Drake has lost a major portion of his influence. That's what I would argue. I would argue even if this album somehow was to do crazy numbers, you would not see Drake doing stadium tours. You would not see Drake doing things that nobody has ever done before within the space. You wouldn't. Because the real world influence is not the same as the internet manufactured influence for Drake. It's just a fact. You can see that from the tour that he did last year. Multiple canceled dates, multiple canceled shows, it's just not there in comparison to our acts like Kendrick Lamar, who has both, has the influence on social media, has the influence on the internet, but also can step outside. That's how TDE dictates what they're doing. Not the streams, not the sales, not that. Who is showing up to the shows? Punch said it himself. The way they grade their success is who's showing up to the shows. It don't get more successful than a stadium tour. Drake can do all the numbers in the world. If it doesn't show that in the shows and the people coming out, it might as well have been null and void. And people are going to do whatever they can to make that the case. But that's a fact. And that's why I say it's probably their worst nightmare if Kendrick were to come outside and drop anything. If all it took was for Kendrick for these songs to come down and these videos to come down, to make that rollout an afterthought, imagine if the songs or albums actually came out. If anything actually came out. If Bodies, music, or whatever you want to call it, Heart Part 7, whatever, music video, whatever was to come out, the discussion would be Kendrick Lamar. Because it's just reality. So I think that is a terrifying reality for Drake and company. And I expect the propaganda, I expect the antics and all that to turn up a notch in these coming days. And I wouldn't doubt if Kendrick is starting to roll something out. I wouldn't rule that out. As a matter of fact, I got a few theories for y'all over the course of this week that we can see if it comes to fruition. Right? We got to get back to the theories. But I'm 100% sure that that's Drake and company's worst nightmare. a Kendrick Lamar release around the same time of this album coming out. It would be terrible. Even just a single would do enough damage. Considering that songs being taken down took over the entire internet and the conversation everywhere. The rollout for Drake is an afterthought at this point. Like, comment, subscribe, especially if you're new here, especially if you've been here. I appreciate y'all for coming. Check out my song, Million Kisses, my music video, Million Kisses, if you haven't. It's a remix of Thug's Mansion. Very, very, very deep song that I think y'all would love. You feel what I'm saying? I got more music on the way as well. So, y'all stay ready. Y'all stay prepared. And be on the lookout, man. We could be getting new Kendrick at any moment here. Whether it's Kendrick and Keem, whatever. You feel what I'm saying? Also, tap in with the Patreon. We still going on with the Jay-Z series. Y'all pull up. The Rock La Familia reaction is next. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. I'm going to catch y'all, man.